A very good morning to all of you. We've been talking about culture as a concept with reference to Raymond Williams' book Keywords, the vocabulary of culture. And in our previous lecture, we understood how the term culture came to English from the Latin language and via French. So, to understand this development of the term culture or the concept culture through this particular movement, we'll have to refer to its development in different other languages, especially I mentioned French and German. So, when we talk about the historical period of, the first part of 18th century. 18th century is not this 18th century. I'm sorry for that. First century, I mean to say, and 1800 of first century, and EC means the latter part of the century. IC is the first part, and EC is the third century, I mean to say. And in the first part of the third century of the year 19, we have to understand, we have to look at the developments in other languages, especially in German. So in French, we have already understood until 18th century, we are referring to now 18th century, the recent developments. Culture was always accompanied by a grammatical form. Now we use different grammatical forms, and in French, the term culture, the concept culture, was always accompanied by a grammatical form, which indicated the matter being cultivated. Means, as a grammatical form, culture meant, okay, the matter being cultivated. Maybe I said, crops or animals. So it was the case with English as well. In the English language as well, with the term culture was used with the same kind of grammatical indication. And when we understand its use as an independent noun, its occasional use as an independent noun, uh, which dates from the middle century of 18. I'm sorry for that. 1800 years of the middle century. So the latter form will have a different kind of indication. Means it was used, as we said, as we understood, to mean cultivation. So the independent noun civilization also emerged during that period. Cultivation now indicated cultivation of crops, or it referred to the tending of animals. But during the same year, okay, 1800 years, okay, we can, as we have 20, now we are in 2021. So we are referring to the middle time of the third century and 18th year, we can say. So the independent noun civilization emerged in during this period, and its relationship to culture has since been very complicated. So we just now understood that it was used to refer to civilization. So you can go through the term civilization in the book Keywords by Raymond Williams. I have uploaded the PDF version of this book. To understand it in a better manner, refer to the term civilization as discussed in the book. So he says, Raymond Williams says that there was at this point an important development in German. Okay, so in German language, the term came to be used with some kind of meaning during this period. Now, what was that? Let's try to understand. The word was borrowed from French in German language. Okay, so in German language, this word was borrowed from French. And so, as we know, IC means last period of a century. Okay, so during the last period of that century, the term culture, CULTUR only, okay, without E, came to be used. It was spelled as CULTUR in German. And then in 19th century, recently, it came to be spelled as KULTUR. Okay, culture. So this is the German spelling of the term. Originally, it comes from French. Now, when we understand its main use in the German language, it was still used as a synonym for civilization. Culture, as a concept, was used to mean civilization. It was synonymous to the term civilization. In two ways, rather. First, in the abstract sense of a general process of becoming civilized. Now, when we say somebody is civilized or somebody is cultivated, it is rather an abstract process. Civilization or cultivation are the abstract terms. You know the difference between abstract and concrete. Concrete nouns, refer to the things which can be seen with eyes. They have shape. Whereas abstract nouns are shapeless entities, means you cannot touch them as such. So civilized, the process of becoming civilized or cultivated were the abstract sense of the word. Secondly, it was used in the sense which had already been established for civilization by the historians of the Enlightenment period. So you know the period of Enlightenment in European history and even in British history. So during the Renaissance, the term civilization was used by the historians, and with that sense, the term was used. Culture, I mean to say, with this as a synonym for civilization. And further, during the 18th century, this term became the popular form of the universal histories. During the 18th century, this term came to be used in all kind of histories across the world. So it was used as a description of the secular process of human development. The term civilization and its synonym culture came to be used in all parts of the world as a description of the secular process of human development. I hope you are familiar with the term secular. Generally, we use the term secular. Of course, there are different connotations, but I expect people to be familiar with the term secular. Secular generally means without any kind of religious or any other kind of bias. So we understand that the term culture meant civilization or was used as synonym for civilization, and it was used firstly with the abstract sense of general process of becoming civilized, and in second sense it referred to the secular process of human development during the 18th century and there onwards. So what we understand is that the German philosopher Herder, came up with the different kind of interpretation of the term, the German term culture, in his book, The Philosophy of the History of Mankind, which was written during 1784 to 91. So, in this unfinished ideas on the philosophy of the history of mankind, Herder wrote of culture. What is it? I quote. Herder defines culture. Nothing is more indeterminate than this word, and nothing more deceptive than its application to all nations and periods. So this particular view of Herder makes it clear that the term culture or German culture is not so easy, no, not so simple. It is rather a very complicated term. So what he says, nothing is more indeterminate. Determinate and indeterminate. I hope you are familiar with the terms. You are familiar. Indeterminate means undecided. Means it's not easy to decide its meaning. Okay. And even it is deceptive, nothing more deceptive than its application. Means it is not easy to use the term uh, for all kind of nations, for all nations and all periods as well. Means the meaning of the term culture may change from place to place, from nation to nation, from time to time. The meaning is not fixed one, it is indeterminate. Indeterminate is the opposite of fixed. There is no fixed meaning. There is no determinate meaning as such. Therefore, Herder attacked the assumption of the universal histories. Okay, we talk about universal histories, that civilizational culture. Okay, the historical self-development of humanity. There is no such universal term as culture, according to Herder. So he attacked the assumption of the universal histories and civilization. What we would now call a unlinear process. This is not a linear process, not a parallel process. It is unlinear. Okay, the process is unlinear, not on the same level. It doesn't go in a single line as such. So it leads to the high and dominant point of the 18th century European culture. Now you understood it very well that European people thought that they are more civilized. Especially British, had British people thought that they are the civilized nation and they have been sent by God to civilize others. So they defended themselves. Therefore, Herder attacked what he called European subjugation and domination. European countries, especially France, Germany, England, UK, etc., subjugated, ruled over other nations. Means they took control of other nations. They dominated of the four quarters of the globe. So they control all four quarters of the globe. He attacked on it. He wrote what he writes. Let's see. I'll just quote here. Men of all the quarters of the globe who have perished over the ages, you have not lived solely to maneuver the earth with your ashes, so that at the end of time your posterity should be made happy by European culture. So he criticizes the European people and even those who subjugated. So, for example, India, many African countries, many South Asian countries was subjugated by the European nations. We were the colonies, British colonies, French colonies, etc. So he says, men of all the people of all the quarters of the globe, means Latin America, Africa, Asia, okay, and some other European countries as well. All the countries were dominated by these countries like French, France, etc. So he says these people have perished over the ages. To perish means to get destroyed. And these people have not lived solely to manure, to cultivate the earth with our own assets. Rather, you were waiting for the Europeans to come and improve. We were happy to be cultivated by the Europeans. So the very thought of a superior European culture is a blatant insult to the majesty of nature. That's what Herder thinks. It is an insult of nature itself. Because nature is majestic, nature is superior. No one else can be superior to nature. No culture can be superior. And when European thought that their culture is superior, that was a kind of insult to the nature. That's what Herder argued. Therefore, he thought that it is necessary in a decisive innovation is we should come up with new ideas, innovation, to speak of cultures. We should not talk about a single culture. Whose culture? That is a question. I already mentioned that the Europeans, especially French people, British people, etc., think that other parts of the world are uncivilized. Their culture is not cultures at all. Herder thinks that we should not talk about a specific culture as superior culture. We should speak of cultures in the plural. Means there are specific and variable cultures of different nations and periods. As I mentioned earlier, means culture may change from nation to nation, from time to time, as we know about language. Language changes from time to time, region to region. You are well familiar with the social linguistics. There is no standard variety as such. In the same manner, there is no standard and superior culture as such. We should talk about cultures as we talk about languages, dialects. No dialect is superior. Okay, every dialect has its own, is its own existence, its own identity. Therefore, Herder thought that instead of talking about a single culture, we should talk about the cultures of different nations and periods, but also the specific and variable cultures of social and economic groups within a nation as well, not only outside the nation. Suppose we talk about Indian culture, then Europeans talk about European culture, French culture, German culture, British culture. These are the different variable cultures on national levels, international level. But within a nation as well, there can be variable cultures. For example, we talk about different cultures in India, diversity. There are diverse cultures, diverse languages. So these variable cultures of social and economic groups should be also understood. So this sense was widely developed in the Romantic movement. You are familiar with the Romantic movement, Wordsworth, etc. So you are also well familiar with Romanticism was not solely the British movement. Rather, it took inspiration from the European Romanticism, from the ideas of French thinkers, German thinkers. So from there, it came to England. Especially, it was influenced by the French Revolution. Those principles of liberty, equality, fraternity, etc. Influenced the British poets. Therefore, they started talking about the common people either subject matter. Their lives became their subject matters. For example, William Wordsworth, S.T. Coleridge, P.B. Shelley, and other poets started talking in them or using the language of common people and talking about common people. So this particular idea was developed, during the Romantic movement, which was, a reaction to neoclassicism or to the orthodox and dominant civilization. You know it very well. Neoclassicists thought that whatever was being written during the Augustan age was should be the model for all other writers. That was the idea of Dryden, Alexander Pope, etc. The neoclassicist. But the romanticists oppose this idea. Similar in the case of culture as a superior form. There is no single culture as such. So they started talking about an alternative to the orthodox and dominant civilization. So this sense of culture as a diverse phenomenon was first, or in plural form, cultures in its plural and variable form was first used to emphasize national and traditional cultures. Even the new concept of folk culture. So Raymond Williams himself insisted on the folk culture of common people. So it was later used to attack what was seen as the mechanical. Okay, mechanical means artificial. So to attack that idea of mechanical. So we can see means mechanical means I told you artificial. So whatever is artificial was attacked. Cultural and artificial. So culture was seen as the mechanical character of the new civilization emerging during this period, both in the abstract rationalism and for the inhumanity of the current industrial development. Mechanical culture we started talking about, during the industrial revolution. So it referred to the abstract rationalism as well. For example, neoclassicists. And whatever happened during the industrial revolution, if you read Charles Dickens, you'll realize how child labor was the problem, the major problem during that period, how the working class was treated. So all this inhumanity came into limelight, came into focus of the discussion. So the term culture during this period was used to distinguish between human and material development. Cultural development and material development. Sanskritik and bhautik. So in that sense. So when we talk about the term culture in a way or in political perspective, from a political point of view, politically we can say. So during this period, it veered between radicalism and reaction, and even many times in the confusion of major social change. Okay, there were mixed elements of both radicalism and reaction to that radicalism. That should be noted here. So we should take the example, means it adds to the real complication of the term. Now, whatever we, in India, we experience, that is a matter of confusion, especially between material and spiritual development. So a confusion arose because of this kind of, conflict. And the German thinker, one more German thinker, von Humboldt and others, talked about this. They talked about culture being material and civilization being spiritual. For them, culture was material, bhautik, and civilization. So they started differentiating between culture and civilization. Initially, the culture was used as a synonym to civilization. So this is how they became two opposite ideas and distinct ideas during this period. And during in the 19th century, means 1840s in Germany, Kultur was being used in very much the sense in which civilization had been used in the 18th century, universal phrase. The term culture was used in German language. So we can refer to the innovative use of the term in G.F. Clement's element, this is German title, General Cultural History of Mankind. Okay, so the German title I skipped because we are not familiar with the German language, but the English translation reads like this: General Cultural History of Mankind. And this particular decisive innovation by G.F. Clements trace human development from savagery through domestication to freedom. So the development of mankind, so was talked about in the historical development of man. And even the American anthropologist, anthropologist is the person who studies mankind, the development of mankind. Manav Shastra, that's what is the Marathi translation of anthropology. The American anthropologist Morgan traces the comparable stages. So he talks about ancient history with a culmination in civilization, then claimed sense was sustained, it was used as it is, and was directly followed by English by Taylor in primitive culture. These are some of the authors who talk about culture. So this is how we understand that it is along this reference of the dominant sense in modern social sciences, we have to understand the term culture. Okay, the term culture has to be understood in this particular, we have to actually understand it. So the complexity of the modern development of the word and its modern usage has to be appreciated, has to be understood in understanding the concept. So we can easily distinguish, according to Raymond Williams, the sense which depends on a literal continuity of physical process. For example, we talk about sugar beet culture, or in the specialized physical application in bacteriology, germ culture, sericulture, etc. You might be knowing that. So we started using, these kind of terms in the modern days. So this is how we understand the development of the term culture in German language.